If I did a fundraiser and you would have the chance to be able to come and stay here many, many times for free, possibly even have a chance to come live here, would that interest you? Where's here? It's Salvage, Texas. See, I'm planning on putting one of my houses over there underneath that rock, because in Texas that's not technically a house. So I can dig down, have a wooden floor, wooden walls, rock ceiling, glass front, windows, just like a regular house, except it'll stay cool naturally. Now, Big John over there helped me dig all this out, but also that's not all of it. Guess what? This dog, he's waiting because he wants to go fetch over in that pond. And that would be the front door, the front view. And how big is that pond? Well, that's the shallow end. So, where are we at? We're south of Austin, about 45 minutes, depending on how fast you go. If you want to go on the tollway, you wouldn't even have to go through a stoplight from Austin all the way down here to our driveway. Now that's assuming you go out and turn right. Right now, the biggest Buc-ee's in the world is going to be at the next exit. Can you believe that? Hey guys, normally I have my hair back, but it's out today. I'm out looking at if we got any water in our pond, or one of the many ponds. But these guys, they're all backed up because nobody knows how to drive when it gets rainy, and all of a sudden after about 2 weeks you got some water on the road, and all that grime and everything floats to the top in Texas, and it's like ice, absolutely like ice. And so a lot of people didn't realize that, and some of these people aren't very happy. Can't imagine. So normally we don't have that kind of traffic, but as you can see, perhaps, even over there, kayaking up into the bayou, there's actually a really good video online. It's called The Song of Salvage. It's actually the song my son did, and I'm with a drone over the top, filming it. So you can see, now these places I'm walking on, I'm getting ready to put up a giant rock wall over there. It's like a castle. So the front of a castle is going to keep and defend us from the noise, but also make another entrance. And then we have this walkway, and the walkway goes between the two different areas. That's Dragon's Lair, and that's Kayak Bayou. And when it's getting more rain, there's a lot more water. Right now we're down about 4 feet, and so you can actually see the dragon's face and Dragon's Lair. Oh, he wants me to throw this again. We're not going to do that right away. So over there is Beaver Island, and way over there is Salvage Fair, and that's our main offices. Now, if you were to want to come down here and plant a tiny house, not a house on wheels, toxic hoax on wheels, it doesn't have enough air, or it's toxic because of formaldehyde. I don't want to really condone putting a bunch of RVs together in an RV park. That's not what I'm after. I am after, on the other hand, a place for people to put tiny houses, to learn how to grow food, to learn how to teach kids how to do skills, and that's what that building is up there, where we can actually teach people how to build things, and then to go off and do it in other places. And so kind of like as a place to come learn. Some people would live here, and some people will go off and start other villages or other communities that are not on the side of the highway. But this is a great spot to start from, because you can reach Austin in 45 minutes. You can reach San Antonio in 45 minutes. You can reach Houston in an hour and a half, thank God. Of course, now Houston keeps getting closer. So technically Houston's probably this side of Sealy. Anyway, there's actually a walkway down below there along the water and through the trees. And then on the far side's a school bus that could be used for something to stay in. But again, I prefer to build structures out of either the dirts, natural ways, natural means, so we can show people how to do this. Because if we could do that, then we can go ahead and show people how to stay well employed and housed and with family and with food and chickens to produce eggs and all the things you need to get by if you didn't want to fall prey to, I don't know, being a victim on the internet because you don't have a way to get money, the banks are closed, all sorts of crazy possibilities. Look at the dog, even knows it. Look at that look on his face. And what if all that traffic out there, which is now going in the direction of Houston, and we've seen before when there's a hurricane coming, it's going in the direction away from Houston, except when Hurricane Harvey came. Now that happened to go ahead and had to park right over the top of us for 2 days. Yeah, okay. Now you ready? Great pot shot. You shouldn't be doing this. Now, there's Dragon's Lair. See the eyes? Underneath there's a cave. And it goes all the way back to the backside. He's walking on top of the rock. That's another rock. And if you haven't seen the cave I did, and the bed we had down there for an evening to spend together for a birthday for Trinity, somewhere in the many, many things I've written, you can see all this empty, no water. That's about, probably 10, 12 foot deep over in that area. So, these are all parts of the area you get to spend time in and live in if you have a house here, a tiny house. This is not a subdivision. This is not a place where you're going to come park a gigantic house. But it is a place we might have a tiny place to get away out of the city, a tiny house to come to that can be taken care of while you're not here, making money and be depreciated as a tax write-off. For example, over here, I have a landing to put a house. And I can build a tiny house to go on here. We want to have a bunch of them because that way when people are here, they can get the experience and learn and then be able to leave. So down here, this gets filled up with water at times. It's one of their little reservoirs. That water stays there all the time. And that feeds the pond over there. And then that turns around and goes underneath and goes all the way down there and feeds that whole pond area. There was no standing water when I started. So this is like miles of shoreline, which means life. Now, look up there. Okay, that's the Ship of Salvage Dreams. It sits above Walden Pond on Miracle Mountain. And I created all those as part of a theme. And that's above Walden Pond. Now to get to Walden Pond, you just walk through this other side. This is where all the water ends at. It starts a long ways from here. So we have spaces to put houses, tiny houses in the woods. And we have spaces to put tiny houses out in the open areas, like along the backside here. But the goal is to have enough of them where people can actually have one, own it, have a place for the kids to get away to and meet them out here, have gatherings, and then also be able to go ahead and write it off against the taxes so that you don't have to contribute money toward wars and stuff. Because if you don't have to pay taxes legally and you don't have to contribute, then why not have a tiny house as a limited investor and own one of the houses that are out here and write it off your taxes? And if you want to come out and use it, it doesn't cost you anything because it's your house. And when you're not here, it might even be making you some money. So all these spaces you see me walking around, well, this is another landing. This is kind of our beach. And so you can see from the far distance, you can see some of the traffic. You won't see that once I'm done blocking it all again. But once you get down in here, you won't even notice it. And again, these are spots where I was thinking, I'm on a rock. This is a big one, but not big enough to do a house under, but it is big enough to do a room under. So I'm going to be digging this out in the front and cutting this down a little bit so you'll be able to look right out your front door and have a landing with a patio and then water right at the end. And this is going to be healing water because it's basically going through a bunch of cool processes to get there. And this is all part of the campaign to go ahead and teach people how to stay younger longer. And at 68, that's important to me. It's a lot more important to me now than it was when I was 30. And so the objective here is to go ahead and provide everybody with a way to invest your cash if you want to go ahead and get it out of the way before it turns into digital currency. If you haven't heard, that's going to happen quickly. And then all the money you get goes straight into your digital accounts. Okay, this fills up with water right in here. And that's an old pipe that ran all the way across the property. It's like a giant springboard right there. And so that rock I showed you over there, that's where it comes out at. So we can actually run the water through and around and actually have a place underneath there that you could live in. And what's cool is you could have the water run under the floor, cooling it. You can have all sorts of cool things happen. So this is a wall of dirt that separates us from the driveway. And we're going to incorporate this to make some more areas to both build in and to grow in. Because if you take these areas like this, obviously stuff wants to grow. That has a natural area for water to drop to. And we can put plants on the sides and make this quite an area by just taking and making it a greenhouse. So that when it gets cold, that will stay warm. And if we do that, that's one of the ways we create food for us. So my next goal in my growth cycle as a person, a human being coming into my 68th year shortly, and knowing that our best time is 66 to 88. I want to take advantage of this. I waited a long time to get to my best, okay? If you told me, hey dude, one day, you're gonna be that strong when you're old, that's it. Sorry you missed it. In my family, we look like shit when we get old. Fat, ugly, bald, wanting to die because we're so sick and hurting. That was my family. Or just oblivious to it. And nobody ever wanted to get kissed by that old granny who had the old wet lips and the mustache and must have weighed 250, 300 pounds. Or my aunt, who definitely weighed 300 pounds. So many people did not learn how to eat in our generation. Take care of themselves. So this little alcove right here is actually a little area where people can invest in by having an airspace certificate. What does an airspace certificate for a spot for you to have a house in mean? What is an airspace certificate? You can actually own the airspace above the piece of ground where your house will sit, about a foot above the ground, as a matter of fact, all the way up to heaven. Just can't own the ground. But you have the right to use the ground, and in some cases, the right to stay there until you die. It's called a life estate. This is our driveway. What's cool about that driveway? If somebody's coming down that driveway and you don't like them, and you close that end off, and you close this end off, you own them. So if they're bad guys, you have the advantage. I need that with a highway out there and a bunch of people aggravated because they can't get any money to go ahead and get fuel. There's no fuel trucks. And so we have to plan for that one day because we're on the side of the highway. And if your house was here, I'd be protecting it because I have these things set up ahead of time. You might even want to come down here. Say, hey, I want to hang out for a little while. So we have places people camp and bring their a few RVs, but not very many. We have one like that's going to be a kitchen. And we have a few others, but I like the classics. Airstreams, stuff like that. But I don't want RV parks. I'll plan to have a lot of those. We might have, that's a bathhouse, and it has showers, has commodes, sinks. And then over there is where we're going to build more houses and move them out here. And then the ones that stay here, they don't all have to stay here. We'll be scattered out in through the trees. Enough that we have enough people here to run it so that the ones that live here aren't trapped here because of all the things we have to take care of. And they can leave and come back again. Excuse me. But others, they're just going to have a place they want to run to, have a family come to, come swim, come kayak. A getaway. And honestly, don't hear much cars after all that, do you? Not a lot of traffic. A lot quieter. Because why? I got all these earthen barriers, walls, built up ahead of time. You don't have to do it. Now on the inside of the walls, oh goodness, we have everything from natural growing peppers and mesquite beans to make protein out of. Like they're just now ready. Look at that. That, my friends, will make bread and cookies. That is mesquite beans. We just got done with the grapes. Before that, we had the berries. Oh, they're just falling right now. Now you're supposed to get them before these little holes get in them, because once they do, that's the ants and stuff reaping all the proteins. And so you have to look at them, make sure they don't have holes in them, and grab them up. And this is a really good time because we just had a huge storm with lots of wind, and they're just all hitting the ground. So in the next day, everything hit the ground. This was a big storm, really heavy wind. Totally surprised, but we needed it. I bet we got an inch of rain. Literally an inch of rain, and probably 15 minutes. So, but the wind was like horrendous, and it took down some trees, and I suspect downtown it took down trees, but we didn't lose much here. We have lots of trees, lots of elevations, lots of changes. We could park a house. We're going to dig that, fill that out over there, so be in the trees. These are all protected areas for the most part, and what the idea of this is that you can have a place to come to if the city life is just wearing on you, or if you want to go ahead and take the kids out and play, walk in the fields, go out into the trees, come out at night and search for spiders in the trees. That's what we do with a flashlight. All these little glowing eyes everywhere. We can see the spiders in the trees. But the idea behind it is you'd be able to come over here, and you see that? That's the ship of salvage dreams. And these houses that you see, incidentally, and you've seen them over the years on my site for a long time. We were trying to do more of just a bed and breakfast business for the longest time, but that's really not a good idea anymore, given what the current market and the economy is doing. And we don't want to keep it on there as that. So we're going to go ahead and pull it off. And in the process, the investors that did have them with the expectations that we had before are interested in going ahead now that they've captured a grand amount of depreciation and income to go ahead and sell them to people that might want to stay here and live here instead of spend the money it takes to move them. Or people might want to take over having a place to get out to, and also I got to do some work on them. I need to go ahead and paint them and clean them up, and you get to help pick the colors. You get to help learn how to do it, and even how to make another one. And if you get into it, you can cash out your investment by going ahead and getting all the materials and plans and everything to build your own, and just trade out of what you had to something else. And the best part is, if you're still on here, and you should be, you can buy them for less than they bought them for. And the Kid, one of my favorites, many people come from all around, which is about a quarter the size of the Blue Moon, and Vicky 1, and the one that needs paint the most, Vicky 2, and possibly even the Arc, are all available for other investors to come in and help. Because that way, if somebody's actually here that wants to maybe help be a gardener and help us garden and create ways to grow food and have a good life out on the pastures watching the cows come in the morning and visit. Yes, we have air conditioning. It's not off grid. And there's Vicky 1, the first one. That's got a bathroom with a commode and everything in it. This one has a commode and it has showers. It's not all finished in there because we're going to change it. And then this one has a shower inside of it. And it could have a commode, but it doesn't at the moment. It's up at the bathhouse. But these are all houses that you could invest in. You could even stay in. And to say that you can live here full time without, you have to screen. You have to go through screening. I don't want pedophiles. I don't want crooks. I can tell you a bunch of politicians I wouldn't want to have live here. And they ain't going to come hide here. A lot of them might be turning their asses in, just like other people should right now. That's Vicky 2. That's actually pretty big. That's got a bathroom and a shower and bedroom upstairs, bedroom downstairs, kitchenette. And you could buy into that, probably get into that for about, I suspect $35,000 to $45,000 range. What that means is you'd have a house, we could level it up, clean it up, fix it up, paint it up, be like brand new again. Same with it. Oh, all the grapes. Oh my goodness. It knocked all the grapes down. You can see, we had a lot of grapes. But if we catch them all in season, there's a lot of food, but it takes a lot of people to do that. In the sense that there's somebody who likes doing the gardening and taking care of the fruit trees better than we're doing. These darn grasshoppers are chewing up our fruit tree. Oh, pain. Because these had several kinds of fruit. They weren't just one, but obviously they didn't all survive. And this is why we need more help. I say help because I'm not a guy that knows how to grow this stuff. I'm learning all this stuff late in life. This is the ginger swan. Oh, beautiful. Has a balcony so you can see the ship of salvage dreams. And you go through the covered bridge that's over Walden Pond. And you can see all that from here. In the morning you can actually watch the sunset at night. That's been in many, many, many magazines. And many people have stayed in it, love it. It has a bed upstairs, a double bed, but it also has a hammock and has a kitchenette and has a little shower area that's being built on the outside, a place for a commode. So it actually makes quite a nice house for 81 square feet. Yeah, wow. Now, way long time ago, you saw me on the Willy Wonka movie. This is what was there, that one right there. You saw those in a field. Now, a lot changed after that. One of the things, of course, is the Ark. And that's because it sits next to Walden Pond. It has a bunch of barrels under it. In theory, it would float. That's a theory. And there you see Walden Pond. And if you were to come here, one of the we could actually put a couple of houses, tiny ones. But my idea would be is to have these out here with a post going down, and they'll cantilever out over the pond. This is a 10, 12 foot by 15, 20 foot with a second floor. about that high. And you'd be able to just go ahead and listen to the frogs and the crickets at night. And you'd be able to go ahead and feel like you were in the natural surroundings, because you were in the natural surroundings every night. Now, that was the bridge, the covered bridge. I have a spot on top for glamping, and we haven't used it much. And when you look at the ponds, incidentally, there's a beaver keeps plugging me up over there. And this is the glamping area. And there's a door partially made. There'll be a bed over there and a bed down there and a little sitting area. And from here, you can see quite an area. This is actually designed to be sort of a little bedroom. And then that way somebody could come up here and stay with a fan and windows open. It's actually quite cool. And there's the door. Oops, I don't think you can see the door. Nope, not gonna work. Anyway, it's a keyhole door. Fits that hole. So, you can hear some of the trucks out there on the highway. Let's do that crack right there. There's a noise crack. So, noise cracks, there's a few of them. If you're down lower and you have trees, especially in summertime, you don't get much of that noise. Not much at night either. But this has been 21 minutes. This is extremely long. So I'm going to go ahead and end this and say, hey guys, anybody that wants to actually take a different path, be creative, make some earth housing, make some, I'm into geopalmers and even floating house or two. I'd love to have a floating house out here. These are all things I still want to do. We got all the materials sitting in warehouses ready. What I want is the creative elders, the minds of people that want to come together, do things, show others how to do it. And then keep on going. What else, right? So, take care, enjoy, and we'll be back in touch. Love you all. Ciao.